Hello, and welcome to devlog number 10. Just going over what I did this week. So starting on Monday and Tuesday, I was trying to figure out how to make this nose cone here look better. Because before it was having like a plain transparent material, and that didn't look very good. I wanted a kind of a nice look to it. So I was diving in trying to figure out how to add a material to this nose cone. And the problem is it's not like a regular mesh. It's a programmatic mesh. It's actually calculating from one vertex to many vertex. It has triangles, but it doesn't have like the standard mesh that you see that has kind of these quads in there. So you can map like a UV material to it. This doesn't have any UV since it's programmatically generated in code. So that allows it to update and on the fly like detect obstacles and stuff to update its mesh. But it doesn't. It's not friendly to like adding a material to it in that way. So I had to come up with another solution. So I was doing a lot of research on Monday trying to figure out, and I came across another thing called the VFX graph. This is kind of like the particle system but beefed up. You can visually like program inputs from code and then do a kind of a particle effect. So this is different than the shader graph. The shader graph deals with materials. This is kind of like particle visual effects. So this effect here um, was a custom solution, like how to do something like this. So I had to look at like this VFX sample, this VFX sample, and kind of combine a bunch of different VFX in kind of work from the beginning and kind of like make it what I wanted to, because this wasn't out of the box. I couldn't go to the Unity store and buy this. I couldn't find a tutorial that had exactly what I was looking for. I kind of had to adapt this VFX off of it was like a holographic scan line map, like a top down, but I adapted it to a kind of a 2D plane, so it kind of has these scan lines and a radius, and it took some doing to get it working, but I got it working pretty well. Um, just doing a bunch of pretty much making one and copying over the inputs from the endpoints and then doing actual lines to the endpoints, and on top of it copying it over again and doing these scan lines back and forth like an animation over time. So now um, it kind of looks like this. So that took some doing on Monday and Tuesday. Um, so after I got the VFX working, I spent Wednesday kind of. I wanted him to do a patrol, but I didn't want the area to just be pointing in one direction while he's on patrol. I kind of wanted to implement behavior where he's on patrol, but he kind of randomly looks to the left and the right while he's walking around. So how do you do that? So I implemented kind of a when he's doing his patrol, you can see this little box is kind of like the turret follows this little box here. Um, and what happens is I pick a random point in a 90-degree direction. Um, it cycles between going straight forward, and then once it reaches that point, it picks a left or a right degree and then moves to that. So he kind of So he's walking forward, now he's looking left, and then it cycles back to front. And when he turns, it kind of, when it goes back to the front, he the weight is the head weight is set to 0, so the animation controller takes over and it sets the turret to the front position like this. Then it cycles back and picks a random direction, and then the weight is turned up to 1, so it allows the turret direction to move freely in whatever direction it desires. So it kind of gives the effect that it is, you know, looking forward in some cases, but also cycling. You know, maybe it looks off into the right direction or to the left direction. So um, it's a little more dynamic than just, you know, looking forward all the time while he's in patrol. It kind of randomly scans left and right, you know, while he's walking around, and that's kind of what I wanted. Um, I think it's a good enough implementation for now. So got that working pretty good. Thursday it was Halloween. I got some work done, but I had to do a lot of setting up, decorating and stuff, and do some shopping. So I didn't spend the whole day working. But um, from there, I actually let's see if I can switch over here. I uh, I, I was testing, and the since I did all this this laser effects and random turret scanning, I actually broke the target player target acquired and shooting. So I had to fix that up again. And from there, I was starting to beef up the finite state machine, the FSM, adding new states. So I added a spotting state and a searching state. Spending time working on the spotting state. So when he's on patrol, instead of going from any state to chase state, when he spots it, he goes to this spotting state, which means there's a period of time where he's kind of still on patrol, but he sees you, but he's not really alerted yet. Um, he'll keep walking on his patrol, but he'll be looking at you, and there's a time period that um, I did an animation, pretty much in the spotting. So when he sees you, let's see if I can slow this down here, half speed, and then so now he can see target. So basically, what will happen when he sees you? He'll locate you, and then the field will start to narrow. It's not a good example here because he reached the actual combat point. Let's try this again, where he can see you. There's still some bugs to work out, but what happens is he sees you in the field. The laser field starts to narrow down as a visual indicator of the spotted time. So, okay, let's go can see target start again. So basically, if I can demonstrate this, so he'll pick you up, and then the actual field. Okay, so I was doing some testing, and the actual combat distance is way too high, so I'll set that real low, and we'll try that one more time. So there's a case where if the he reaches the combat distance before he spots you, the actual field won't narrow all the way. So now he'll spot you, and you can see how it narrows down. And so what happened there is that was a success. That was the good case. So he spotted him, it narrowed down, and then I had to hook up um, information that says, okay, he was spotted, switch to the chase state. So it actually goes to the chase state. Let's actually slow this down here one more time. It will actually transition successfully to the chase state once the player is is spotted. So going real slow, you can actually see what's happening. So a wide field of view, he's patrolling, then he spots the player, the field starts to narrow down, the laser goes to one point, and at some point he is spotted, and then he transitions to moving faster into the running state, and then all the way to the combat state. So that was almost too slow, but you kind of get the idea. It is working in some sense. Um, so with all that said and done, on Friday I was wanting to kind of test different scenarios, like what happens when the target is lost. But instead of having to pick up the controller to test every time, I wanted to see if I can do a way to have a implement some custom debug activity, because setting these variables, sometimes they work, but if they're not hooked into the update loop, you won't see anything happen. If I just say can see target off, it won't actually affect anything. It's not hooked into the loop. There's no event feedback from the inspector to the code when you click this button. I wanted to have a way where I could interact with the inspector, and then that instant when you say can see target, it will actually lose the target. How do you do that? Um, I was trying to figure out a way, how do you implement an action, an event action when you do this, not just updating a value. How do you call a function that'll interact with the code, interrupt the state. So um, I was looking at my new Odin inspector, kind of diving into what I can do, and it has a bunch of stuff where you can listen to on changes and hook it up to a method. But the problem is the Odin inspector doesn't play nice with the invector system. I can't just use the Odin attributes in the invector system. There's something wrong. It doesn't work. So I had to create a class and kind of dive in and kind of figure out just the first, kind of using their little toolbox here, like what they have, what you can do, and kind of diving in, like, okay, what can I use in here? What would and I've kind of used a couple of things here and there, like read only, and kind of diving into this again. It's like, what tools can I use here to expedite this? I wanna click a button or check a tick box and have it send out a message to this AI controller to say, hey, you've lost this target. So I decided, I made some tabs here just testing around, but I made a button that would do just that. So in order to test you know, when the enemy acquires, is spotted the target, before he starts going into the combat phase, I wanted to test at that point, if you disable the target, will he go back on patrol after that? Or he's seen the target, but he hasn't spotted him yet. If you disable the target, what is his behavior? Does he go back to the patrol state successfully? And that's easier than picking up a controller every time and hitting the stealth button. It's not it's not instant. So having like a debug class that kind of hooks into every little one of these components to kind of easily just, hit a button, send off an action, change the state of the running application. That's going to be an important tool going forward. Um, as far as the tools that I implemented last week with this new organization is really coming in handy. It's speeding up the process. The hot reload, it's kind of hit or miss. It speeds it up a little bit, but I still haven't really got the knack of really leveraging. It seems like it helps a little bit, but you still have to reload most of the time in order to get the thing to work. And then also the hierarchy thing, you can label and put little bookmarks. That helps, but every time you have to restart the IDE, all the it's not like this information sticks around, the coloring and the icons. This doesn't. It doesn't retain that information. So you kind of have to reset it and work with it from scratch every time the program has to be hard reset, or it doesn't save that information. So that's one of the drawbacks. But um, I think the tools I'm using now are coming in handy. They're actually making the flow a little better. Um, so as a final, I hooked up. So he spots, and then also he does his robot run animation. So I added the proper animation. I'm kind of working with the animation in Blend Tree now, so it's actually working a lot better. Uh, that was pretty much what I've done for the week. And so next week I'd expected to be finished with another leg of enemy features this week, but I probably only got halfway done. I want to keep doing enemy features. Other things like when the enemy is chasing you, I want to kind of do shooting. He's chasing you, but he's also shooting at you while he's chasing you. That would be good, but at a lower frequency, I think. And then what happens when the target is lost? Fleshing out the actual the searching state. I want him to go to the last known location, maybe spawn a ghost player copy to kind of visually see, okay, this is where the enemy saw you last. Uh, and then behavior like he gets to the last position and he kind of sits there and looks around a little bit before kind of picking a direction to search in, like a 50-50 chance whether he comes in your direction or a random direction in a specific set range before he reaches that and returns to the closest patrol point. So that's work for next week. Again, the case where the AI actually he's patrolling and he reaches the combat range before he actually spots you. I want it to successfully do the scan cone narrow down in that case. After all that, I'd probably move back to the player and add some more features to the player. But still more work to be done on the enemy eye. So a couple things done this week, and we'll just continue moving forward. Okay, that's about it for this week. I'll check in with you next week. Thanks.